Hey, what is going on with y'all, man? It is Black Balloon, and I'm coming back with another video, so y'all already know what's going on. Alright, y'all. Now, today we are here with the highly requested Liam Payne video. Ever since they announced his death, a lot of you have been in the comments asking me, am I going to cover it? When am I going to cover it? So now is that time. Y'all already know how we do. It's Sunday. It's Sacrifice Sunday. And the series continues without us even trying, right? Now, I'm kind of glad I took this long to get to the video. It's just with everything that's been coming out, I prioritized the other videos first, you know, all the MK Ultra stuff and things that were going on with the election and so on, right? So I figured now with the most recent news that have came out about Liam Payne's death, the former One Direction singer, it's the perfect time to go ahead and cover it. So if y'all have been keeping up with his death recently, since it happened back in October, I think they've had 3 major updates. And now I think the most recent, which may have came out the day I am recording this, is that it was officially ruled as an accident, you know, saying that he didn't unalive himself, you know, intentionally, but it was an accident. But I think the story is very interesting on how everything happened, even starting with the 911 call, as that set off a red flag in my head when I listened to it. Now, I'm going to play that clip for y'all. The 911 call is not in English, but there are subtitles. So we're going to go over that because, you know, a lot of times when we do these sacrifice videos, we got to play the 911 call just to kind of get some context and see if anything sounds a bit suspicious that comes from that call. And I think y'all found this call to be one of those calls that tells us something before it even happened. So without me keeping this intro too long, y'all, we'll go ahead and first jump into the 911 call. And then I got an article to read. And then we're going to go into something that connects this back to Diddy. And it also connects it back to, you know, this certain pink cocaine drug that's been popping up all over the place in the last couple of years, or really just this year, because we've been hearing the most cases about, you know, this particular drug being involved in deaths, being involved in accidents. There's some things I want to talk to y'all about when it comes to that, right? So with that being said, y'all, check this out.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mira, te estoy llamando del Hotel Casa Sur Palermo, que queda en Costa Rica 6032.
¿Entre Arevalo y Kramer?
Bueno, nada, tenemos un huésped que está sobrepasado de droga y está rompiendo toda la habitación. Así que necesitamos que venga alguien.
Entiendo, me dice entonces que es agresivo. Bajo de efectos de alcohol y estupefaciente, ¿no, señor?
Sí, correcto. Y necesitamos que nos envíen a alguien urgente porque, bueno, yo no sé si corre riesgo la vida del huésped. Está en una habitación que tiene balcón y, bueno, estamos un poco con temor de que haga algo que le ponga en riesgo su vida.
All right, y'all, real quick. I want to go over this article and talk a little bit about that 911 call. I think the only thing that really popped out to me on that call was that, you know, the person from the hotel who called the police, they just happened to mention that the room that he was in had a balcony. And they were a little forward with what they said because they were like, we don't want him to harm himself because that room has a balcony. So it's almost, you know, like they were insinuating this guy, he may jump off the balcony because he's going crazy in the room. You know, there's violent noises, bashing the TV. I'm assuming they didn't see inside of the room. They just heard stuff and they decided to call the police. So I thought it was interesting that they chose to say there's a balcony in that room. And quite frankly, he's not that high up. Like, it's not one of those falls where you're like at the top of the hotel and you're guaranteed to die. Although we see this off the internet, but from the picture of looking at the back of the hotel, it almost seems like a survivable fall. And I guess me saying that would bring up him actually being like unconscious or almost in a sense harmed or beat maybe before he fell off the balcony or however he fell off that balcony. Because you got to remember now, they're saying that it was an accident, that he didn't intentionally fall off the balcony. So I don't know what kind of accident this was. Was he being, he was being crazy and he just threw himself over the balcony, or he was stumbling and just somehow, some way fell over the balcony? Most balconies are like up to your waist, some even taller depending on the height of the person. So I think it still remains a question of how did he even fall off the balcony if it was an accident? One thing to note is Liam Payne was dropped by Universal Music days before his death, right? So it says he suffered a huge blow just days before his tragic death. He was dropped by his record label, Universal Music. Originally signed to Sony as part of One Direction, Liam penned a deal with Capitol Records, a label owned by Universal, in July 2016 when he launched his solo career at just 22 years old. Now, this was the same way that XXX went out as well. He signed his deal with Capitol Records, and who are owned by Universal Music, and shortly after, XXX ended up dead. Completely different situation on how he died, but I'm just tying connections to these people who are signed to Capitol and Universal as the parent label. It says Liam was said to have been thrilled when he signed to Capitol in what was understood to have been a very lucrative deal. Now you got to remember, Liam at the time of his death, the guy was still worth upwards of $70 million. I think almost everyone a part of One Direction are still worth upward of $50 million. But in the company's recent reshuffle, he came under the main label, which would be Universal. Last night, guests staying in the same hotel as Payne shared chilling recollections of the moments leading up to his death, including hearing violent noises and a scream. Someone said, "I thought they were working on the room. There was a lot of noise, like heavy lifting, like banging, a lot of loud, violent noises." So they're describing this as if someone is in that room getting beat to death. What else would you think about if you hear violent noises? And we also got to note that he was also there to see a former band member that was a part of One Direction. I forget which one he was there to see in Argentina, but he was there to visit him. So this just wasn't a random stay. Now here is a photo of the back of the hotel. Now, not every single one has a balcony, but the level that he was on, all of these levels from 1 to the 4th floor have balconies attached. Now that fall seems like you're going to break a couple of limbs. It, like I said earlier, it almost seems like that's a fall someone can survive unless they were already damn near beat before that, or unless they were tossed over. I still don't understand how he accidentally fell off the balcony. Now, here's a piece that goes a little bit more with what I was saying about his state before he actually fell. It says the prosecutor's office said forensic reports showed no injuries were observed that suggest third-party involvement, and that the autopsy is compatible with a fall from height. Detectives added the singer could have fallen while either semi-conscious or completely unconscious, and that a series of substances were seized from the hotel room, indicating previous situation of alcohol and drug consumption, which we're going to get into that in a second. A search of his room uncovered what appeared to be narcotics, alcohol, destroyed objects, and furniture. Now, I don't know. A lot of this doesn't really make sense to me, because for him to be completely unconscious, how is he throwing himself off of a balcony? How does that happen? Now, you can say when someone blacks out from alcohol, they have no idea what they are doing. Alcohol and a combined number of substances and cocaine, could be a theory. But what really doesn't make sense, it almost seems like everything broke down to the moment of him dying, and everything seems very orchestrated to me. So check this out. We also get, during their extended trip, Payne was reunited with Niall Horan. Excuse me if I'm not saying his former bandmate's name correctly, but remember, he was reunited with a former bandmate, and he was there to watch him perform, right? As on October 12th, Miss Cassidy, which was his girlfriend, 25 years old, returned home to Florida after saying, "I just need to go home," in a TikTok video. She left him behind, checking into the hotel alone. So the girlfriend leaves 4 days before he dies, goes back home, right? 48 hours before his death, on October 14th, it emerged that Payne's ex-fiancée, Miss Maya Henry, had started legal proceedings against Payne, accusing him of obsessively contact and weaponizing his fans against her. 2 days later, Payne posted several social media videos, including one where he jokingly called his girlfriend a loser for going home. Then, hours after that, police were called to the hotel following reports of an aggressive man who could be under the influence of drugs or alcohol. So, if you think about this story, and also, I think a watch, a Rolex, was stolen out of his room as well. Nothing makes sense. Everything broke down. He was dropped by Universal Music Group, which I need to find out if they still hold insurance policy after dropping him from the label. That would be a good thing to know. So he was dropped from the label. Him and his girlfriend were actually on the trip together. She left 4 days before he died. 2 days later, his ex-fiancée started legal proceedings against him. And then, comes his demise. So all of this stuff just started to happen out of nowhere that just led to him losing it and going crazy. And next thing you know, he's off the balcony. Unconscious, by the way. Now, what I also want to get into is this other article, right? Talks a little bit more about the drugs and, people that he were with. The price of fame. So it says, among new details, multiple sources with direct knowledge of the investigation told ABC News police have reviewed CCTV footage, which appeared to show multiple drug exchanges between a dealer and a hotel employee taking place prior to Payne's death. Sources said police are investigating if the hotel employee provided Payne with drugs. Payne is also seen twice in CCTV footage sleeping in the hotel lobby with a bottle of whiskey in his hand. Sources say that police never believed Payne's death was him unaliving himself or that it was intentional. Previously, sources told ABC News that a partial autopsy also found that he had multiple substances in his system that day, including pink cocaine, a recreational drug that typically is a mix of several drugs, including methamphetamine, ketamine, MDA, and others, as well as cocaine, benzodiazepine, if that's how you say that, and crack. That is crazy. An improvised aluminum pipe to ingest drugs was also found in his hotel room. Now, this is where we get to the part where it is pretty interesting. It also goes down to say, according to multiple sources with direct knowledge of the investigation, police also identified the presence of 2 female escorts at the hotel In the hours before Payne's death, Payne offered 5,000 USD to two female escorts who were allegedly called by the lobby of the hotel Payne was staying at during his death via an app. He did not pay the escorts, sources said. Sources also noted that a Rolex was also found missing from Payne's hotel room. You had two escorts who he was supposedly with, drug deals that were happening on camera. For some reason, he was asleep on a bench in the lobby of the hotel with a bottle of whiskey in his hand. So in my mind, these two female escorts had to have something to do with this sacrifice. Maybe this was set up, maybe to get him on drugs, maybe, this was the plan the entire time in order to make it seem like this was an accident. This was a guy who just went crazy. He already was battling depression and, things with drugs and so on and so on. It is a typical headline out of Hollywood. They take advantage of someone who already has these type of problems, and it is easy for them to sacrifice them, put out anything, nothing, y'all, everything literally lines up for his sacrifice. He was there to see a former member performing. His girlfriend left 4 days before. His ex-fiancée started a lawsuit against him. Most importantly, Universal Music Group literally dropped him days before he died. He had escorts there. He had the pink cocaine that went viral with Diddy. Y'all know Tootsie, the Tootsie. That's the other street name for it. It came well known in the Diddy saga with the Little Rod, the producer guy, talking about it. Methamphetamine, ketamine, all these drugs that relax you. It's like uppers and downers mixed, basically. Basically, Diddy and them were taking it because there was a lot of sex going on. And they needed all holes to be relaxed. As crazy as that sound. And it has crack in it, of all things. And now where I wanted to get into the pink cocaine thing, like I said earlier in the video, is because now we're starting to see patterns. Now I want y'all to just check something out real quick, because I think there was this accident in Miami, right? I'm about to see if I can get the clip on here or get the article real quick. There was some kind of accident, like I think it was like a IG model or something. She got into an accident in Miami. I don't know if she killed the other person or not, but she had like hella pink cocaine on her. And this was, I think right around the time Diddy got arrested, and just pink cocaine, Tootsie, it was just all over the place. And it just seemed like, all the big stuff that was happening had this pink cocaine stuff attached to it, right? And I do want to show y'all the clip that I think we've talked about before with the guy back in 2018 or 19 who said he was Diddy's sex slave and that he had sex with Cassie and Diddy. Mind you, this was like in 2019. The detectives, I think they were in Florida, the detectives had no idea what he was talking about. He just started going on about being a sex slave to Diddy. He was talking about, the rap industry and its agenda and the Illuminati. He was talking about the boule. He was talking about all kind of stuff. This was way before Cassie put out the lawsuit against Diddy. Before we knew any of this stuff was true, and he had the inside scoop. And he also talked about liquid and pink cocaine. Look, we'll go ahead and check that out, because it ties back to this stuff and the pattern that, if you pay attention, you'll start to see that, these are red flags. Something don't make sense here. Why is this drug popping up all over the place? So look, we'll go ahead and check this clip out real quick.
They're coming.
We're taking a closer look at the nearly incoherent ramblings of a woman who police say caused a chain reaction crash in Miami while she was high on what's called pink cocaine. AC Marie Lathers calls herself an Instagram model, posting seductive photos of herself, seemingly in the hopes of maybe getting jobs at parties and events in the Miami area. But police say her decision to speed through an intersection and slam into another car might put her behind bars for a long time. That is the allegation that she is facing. And we are getting a look at what first responders were dealing with as they responded to this deadly crash at around 6:45 a.m. on August 10th. Body cam video shows the wreckage of 3 cars. Investigators say Lathers was driving around 80 miles an hour in a white Mercedes with her foot on the gas pedal 100% when she allegedly ran a red light and crashed into a black Range Rover. And that collision caused the SUV to smash into a Suzuki. 2 people in that car were killed in this crash, identified by family as Abraham Ismael Molina Cruz and his friend Jesus Rubio. Yeah, this interview is taking place back in 2018. Cassie's lawsuit wouldn't be filed until November of 2023, so the officers don't really know what he's talking about. Tom, you think he might be cooperating with the government? Maybe they're speaking with him. The problem is, of course, is credibility, right? And during this interview, Adi makes references to a lot of things. He makes references to a cabal of rich people who control the government. He claims the hip-hop world had its own goal.
The hip-hop agenda is an agenda to move drugs all over the United States. They move, you need to involve DEA. They move all the dope, all the dope on private jets, which don't get screened by
customs,
by DEA inside the United States. Okay, they move what's called high-grade powder MDMA. They move cocaine and they move liquid cocaine in their bottles too. Okay, so they put the liquid cocaine in the bottles and they move it. I've seen the liquid cocaine. I've drank it myself, having sex with Diddy and Cassie. Okay, it's not good. He drinks it all the time.
All right, y'all. Now, I can't be the only one who's thinking red flags about this pink cocaine drug or concoction or mixture of, a bunch of different stimulants and depressants. The drug most of the time doesn't even contain cocaine, according to articles that are, putting information out there about the pink cocaine party drug. When you just type pink cocaine in on Google, articles immediately come up related to Liam Payne's death, and then also obviously related to Diddy. And there are articles that explain just exactly what it is. Like the feds in New York are issuing a new warning about a drug cocktail called pink cocaine. The feds say it's a popular party drug they're finding on New York City streets. It was also named in a lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs, which was one of his alleged go-to drugs. It says the DEA, New York Special Agent in Charge, Frank Tarantino, explained a gram of pink cocaine can cost between $20 and $100. It's being sold mostly online and through social media apps, but being abused in the clubs in New York City. Now, obviously, this is running up and down across the East Coast because I just showed y'all that clip from the IG model who was on pink cocaine talking about aliens are coming, and she actually killed 2 people flying down the road at an intersection. The expensive club drug, also known as Tusi, often contains no cocaine at all. DEA agent says it's a synthetic drug mixed with white powder and pink food coloring. It's ketamine mixed with methamphetamine and ecstasy. It can be mixed with anything. It can put people into a K-hole where they feel like they're in a blank space, like they are disassociated from their body. They're disassociated from their brain. They don't know what's going on. And so on and so on. So, and they talk about the Lil Rod thing with Diddy and how, it was kind of like really put on the map with the whole Diddy case, right? Now, I don't have to go over this entire article, but they're saying it's being mixed with fentanyl as well. And now if this becomes connected to another death in the industry or film industry, then we really, you really have to pay attention at that point. I would say right now, we even have to pay attention now because I just feel like these are patterns, It's the same old storyline, like I said, from Hollywood. And I don't know, sometimes I just feel like, we know they control the media. I just feel like they just be playing with us sometimes. Like this stuff went viral with Diddy, And then next thing you know, it's all kind of stuff pink cocaine related, you know? Like, I don't know. I just feel like they just be playing with us. Like, toying this stuff in our face, regardless of how much information we start to learn, you know, or find out in the age that we're living in, you know, where you damn near could see and know and learn anything on the internet. But yeah, y'all, that's all I wanted to go over for this video. You know, be sure to let me know if I missed anything in the comments with the whole Liam Payne death, as right now they are calling it a accident, that it was not intentional. So you know, I'll keep a lookout if anything else comes up. Maybe there's another video, who knows. But in the meantime, y'all, let me know what else y'all want to see on the channel. You know, we can kind of get back to doing the regular vids. And yeah, man, with that being said, it's Black Balloon, and I'm gonna see y'all soon. I'm out.